Hi my friends. I didn't post here anything for quite a while now, and I didn't for different reasons. For one, I tried to make my own statement to the current situation by recording the Sarabande of the C minor suite by Bach. And on the other hand, I'm really swamped here right now. Of course, all concerts are cancelled, but that means a hell of a lot of organization, I can tell. Additional to that, I started a really big project, but I don't want to spoil too much of that yet. I just thought, in times of social distancing, many of you probably will make more music, but also listen to more music. And because of so many people asking me which recordings they should listen to, I decided to tell you about my favorite ones. And we're starting today with, what else? The 6 Suites by Johann Sebastian Bach. I just counted how many different recordings I own, and it's 47. And this is only what I have on CD and LP. There are so many more on the different streaming platforms. So how do you navigate through this jungle of Bach interpretations? Now I selected a few recordings for you. And sure, they are my personal favorites, but they are also the ones I think you just should know. So here is my top 10. Number 10. I only have an illegal copy, so I show it to you very quickly. Pablo Casals. Of course you don't play Bach like this anymore, but Casals had a deep understanding for this music and such a great tone. His recording is nothing less than a first milestone, so actually you just have to know it, simply because of his importance to the reception history of the suites. Nine. Heinrich Schiff. Again, a milestone. His meticulous playing, the choice of the tempi, to me this is the first real modern recording of the suites. Perhaps a good example is the prelude of the E-flat major. Schiff is the first who really made me understand the movement in its harmonical and really architectural structure. Number 8. Paolo Pandolfo. Back to old recordings. Sure, this interpretation is not up to date regarding the latest Bach research and might seem a little dusty, but this is not just old-fashioned, but really extraordinary. His interpretation is one big meditation. He presents Bach's music with incredibly long musical lines, with wonderful sound and a unique calamity that is contagious, hypnotizing, and never gets old. Pun intended. Number 7. Bogus Pegamenchikov. Pegamenchikov delivers a recording that sings and radiates rich, beautiful sound. But more than that, it captivates by its playfulness and creativity in ornaments. Number 6. Yo-Yo Ma. Now already? For real? Yup. And which one of the, what it feels like, 15 complete recordings do I like the best? The latest is good, but to me the most interesting one is the version from the late 90s. Yo-Yo Ma plays Bach with a grasp of a musician who includes these pieces into every day of his life, just like Casals did. And also like him, it is an extremely special treat to hear him play the suites live, which he, fun fact, performs without any break. What a truly great accomplishment. Number 5. Pieter Wispelwey. I hope I said his name right. Try to avoid it usually. The first recording on a Baroque cello and in historically informed performance practice that made it into my top 10. Super interesting and quite wonderful is the old tuning in 4/15 Hz. When you listen to the low bass notes in the prelude of the C minor, it roars hauntingly. A very smart, very well structured recording that is emotionally deeply touching. 4. Peter Bruns. Maybe a bit of an insider's tip because Peter Bruns is not as famous as the other guys. But his version is nonetheless as wise and just very exact without coming across academically correct. Peter Bruns, by the way, one of my teachers, plays incredibly dance-like and dynamically, energetically and sparkling, and everything with a stunningly dark and growling tone. Now it's time for the top 3. And who is it? It is Matt Heimowitz. Do you remember him? He was a shooting star in the late 80s with Deutsche Grammophon and disappeared from one second to another. After so many years, he reported back with an impressive recording. Heimowitz plays on a Baroque cello as well as on a 5-string violoncello piccolo, which gives the suite in D major a tremendous virtuosity and fluidity. I guarantee you, you've never heard your Bach this way before. Number 2, Stephen Isserlis. What can I say about this CD? Or what can I not say? Stephen, or Mr. Isserlis, or I hope Sir Stephen in the near future, is absolutely my hero. I admire him greatly. And also his Bach is 100% convincing. This is the most vivid and dancing recording I know. Many recordings have single aspects that appeal to me. The tranquility, the emotional spectrum, clear structuring, perfect phrasing, conclusive character of the movements. Stephen has it all. This seems unbeatable, right? But there's still missing my number 1. Because there's one recording that is as fun and as convincing and comes with a little extra. My number 1. Paolo Pandolfo. Pandolfo has a lively imagination, and I mean that as a very good thing. He works so freely and creatively with the pieces. He takes full risk and he succeeds perfectly. The music doesn't appeal old at all, but on the contrary, very much alive and fresh. His performance is just so full of playfulness and enthusiasm that you don't notice the rules of historically informed practice because he knows them very well and yet doesn't see them as boundaries. In addition to that, the viola da gamba provides him with many more technical opportunities, for example showing harmonies you could only add in your head as a cellist. Listening to Pandolfo playing the suites is a very enriching experience to me. In other words, just fun to listen to, and I'm sure he has as much fun playing them. But wait! A recording of the suites for cello on the viola da gamba is my number 1. What an irony! Little nerdy reading tip on that though, Hubert Leblanc, Defense of the bass viol against the enterprises of the violin and the pretentious of the violoncello. It's a fairly old read, but witty and satiric. Leblanc was a French gambist, doctor of law and abbé in the middle 1700s and wrote this in order to give the viola da gamba a little lift since the violin family became more and more popular. It's full of music and actual playing instructions from the time, but not dry, rather eccentric and funny. Now I wish you the biggest pleasure listening to these 10 amazing recordings. If you like, tell me which of these 10 is your favorite. Perhaps your favorite isn't in my top 10. Let me know either. I'm always very interested in listening to new stuff. So, thanks for watching. Bye.